unbeknownst to me, we were about to hit the hardest season of our lives.
Your whole life has changed.
My whole life, the rug got pulled up beneath me.
I think there's so much beauty in hitting rock bottom because I think you figure out who you truly are.
He said to me, Beck, this is life or death.
We are talking about it.
We're talking about it.
Welcome to the Ageless Blonde Podcast. I have a very special guest today, Beck Smith.
Hi.
Beck has been one of my good friends for a while.
Yes.
And she actually has her own podcast, the Unguarded Podcast. You want to tell us a little bit about that podcast?
Yeah, so my husband, Joe Smith, and we started this podcast called Unguarded. And it'd been on both of our hearts for a long time. And it came to a moment, because there's always that doubt in your mind, like, why should I start a podcast when there's so many? It feels like there's so many podcasts out there. And I felt like God said to me, but you would put all that to waste. Like all the good things I've done in your life and in your marriage especially, it all goes to waste if you don't tell anyone about it.
Wow.
And it felt like, it just hit me. And I was like, okay, I can't be afraid of this. And let's just try and let's see what happens with it. So Joe and I started it last August.
Yeah.
And it's been amazing. Like I love doing it. And it's, sometimes it's hard or nerve-wracking, but I love being able to connect with Joe. I think that was like a special gift that I didn't know would happen from it. And then also connecting with people that I've never met before. I'm like, this is amazing because I love meeting people.
Right.
And so anyone that listens to the podcast, I'm like just humbled by it. And that they get anything out of it is amazing to me.
So the Unguarded podcast is mostly about relationships, right?
Yes, it is.
Marriages, friendships,
dating. And I love that we called it Unguarded because we wanted to always be unguarded with what we're talking about, like to pull back the curtains.
Yeah.
And that's actually so much harder. Like, it's funny how many times I'm like, I don't want to talk about sex or I don't want to talk about this. And Joe would look at me like,
we are talking about it.
We're talking about it. And we said we'd be unguarded. So we have to, we already put that, the benchmark is so high to be so honest that there's no other choice but be unguarded and honest.
I admire that you guys are doing that though, because I think so many relationships are suffering and people aren't vulnerable about their relationships, especially in marriages or in dating. People don't want to talk about it, especially if they've been hurt or especially they don't want to talk about sex. So the fact that you guys are doing that and you're being so open is super cool.
Well, that's the cool part is like people will text me after a really vulnerable episode and they're like, thank you for talking about this because we're struggling with this in our marriage and we thought we couldn't talk about it with anybody because there could be shame or you're embarrassed and you don't know who to say it to. And so it's like I've always said to myself, okay, someone has to go first. And it's just, we just decided we'll go there and then hopefully people will be a part of the conversation with us,
Right. I think it's interesting that you felt that way about starting the podcast because I remember distinctly like me wanting to do a podcast and start putting myself out there on social media. And I really didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
And I remember God saying, you've overcome so many things and so many challenges in your health and in your relationships and also with your mindset because I struggled with depression for quite a long time. And I remember God saying, you need to share this with the masses.
Wow.
And so I remember thinking like, I don't want to be vulnerable and share all this with all these people. But also, if my life's work is to help other people overcome something that I had to go through, it's worth putting myself out there.
Yes.
So what you guys have been able to do is put yourself out there and you're going to keep posting more about marriage and more about relationships. And I think there's just a really big need for that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think so too. And we've taken a bit of a break and it felt like the moment we took a pause, I don't think we even realized we were going to take a pause, but we did.
Life happened.
And then life really happened. And it feels like it's been the most craziest few months of our lives and of our marriage. And during the time of the craziness, I kept thinking to myself, I don't want to miss this moment and sharing this on Unguarded, but we're not filming right now, but we should. It was like this mix of, I don't want people to miss out on the hard stuff.
Right.
Because unbeknownst to me, we were about to hit the hardest season of our lives.
Right. Something you didn't expect.
Something that hit us left field. And I wanted to be as honest and present with the ups and downs of that time.
Right.
So it's been cool. Thank you for inviting me to be on this pod. And I'm excited for you, and I'm excited for the conversations that will be had because of this.
Yeah. So one of the hardest seasons of your life has just happened. You're sharing and you're opening up. And so what I want this podcast all to be about is mental health, physical health. Clearly, I'm all about wellness, but with wellness comes mindset.
Yeah.
It comes with your mental health. It comes with your spiritual health.
Yeah.
And so I'm all about health in general, but what I've realized is it's spirit, body, mind, and soul. And so you and I recently met and had the most amazing conversation about mindset and going through a difficult season. And I think we had both just experienced a major loss in our life.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah. And I think mine was a little different. It was kind of career loss. Like I had quit a job that I'd worked for this doctor for a long time, and it was a good paying job, and I walked away to start my own business. Started my own business. That completely failed. It's an interesting story, but the partner and I didn't see eye to eye. And so then I was like, well, what do I have left? And I'm in the middle of school, about to finish with my nurse practitioner degree. And I think I was telling you, like, you know, when I met you, like, oh my gosh, all this happened and I brought all this to you, not even knowing you were going through something. The timing was so interesting that we had this conversation and I walked away so inspired. And that's why I was like, I just feel like we need to replicate that conversation here.
Yeah.
So career, I want to talk about how we can identify with our careers and how when a career shifts, we can lose ourselves.
Yeah.
And what that's like for you and me.
Yeah. Well, I think, you know, the first thing that comes to my mind is being a mom, and we have 4 kids. And so it's a lot. And I feel like as a mom, you have shifts. And I feel like every season I shift to reflect on, like, how am I doing as a mom, and how have I made it a priority in my life? Because there's so many times where I think the struggle is that I want to do, like, career. I want to pursue the things that I love, my dreams. And at the same token, my biggest priority is the children and raising them and making sure they have the best environment to succeed and to be healthy. And so I felt like I went through a bit of a, like, internal crisis of, I have 4 kids. I have a 10-year-old, Isaiah, Indy, who's 8, River, who's 5, Rocky, who's
4,
3.
Guys, 4.
So 3 boys and a girl. And it's almost like we didn't realize how big of a deal it was to have 4 kids, other than the fact that everywhere I go and I tell people I have 4 kids, they're like, oh my gosh.
Now you realize that you have 4. Now you're like, oh, this is like, what it means.
It's a big deal? Like, why is that a big deal? But
you were meant to carry a heavy burden.
It's a lot of work and a lot of fun, a lot of chaos. And so I felt like the first time I became a mom with Zai, the moment I became a mom, I was fighting that loss of freedom and loss of self, loss of career, loss of things to become a mom. And so I felt like it took me a while to accept I'm a mom. And then as I kept having children, it's like you start easing into it, start accepting the fact that this is part of who I am and that it's something to celebrate and something to really love. And now I'm like, I love being with the kids, or I love picking them up at school, and I love that I don't have a full-time job that takes me away from being with them. And realizing, maybe God just helped me with that, like realizing this is a gift, that you have this time with them, and not to wish it away, because the years, as they say, will go by. The days go by slowly, the years go by quickly.
Right.
And I don't want to miss out on these like really important moments with them.
For sure.
Thinking that like, oh, it doesn't matter, which is what I felt like I treated it before, as though it did matter. And so if you're out there and you're a mom, then I just want to say to really love it. And as you begin to, even if you're just telling yourself to love it, that eventually you start to love it.
I think sometimes we can be so focused on trying to have a really successful career or try to have everything that our kids, like a really nice house or all these materialistic things. And what happens is you're trying to build all that and you might just miss out on those special moments of the kids being little. And then all of a sudden they're older. And then you're like, I sometimes look back and I'm like, I wish I would have enjoyed the time they were little more.
Yes.
And something I had to teach myself was that there's seasons in life. It's not always going to be hard. They're not always going to be two. You're not always going to have diapers to change. It's a very small season.
It really is.
And then another season comes and then another season comes. And it's like, if you can't be happy in that season, you're going to miss out on this relationship with these little beings that you have.
Yeah.
The hard part is to balance all the things with having those relationships with your husband and your kids and a career.
And your friends.
That's why I hardly hang out with friends, because it's so hard to do all of it. Yeah. But I mean, I think that just remembering that it's in seasons and that they're not going to last forever.
And I think maybe that's the gift of having 4, is that I have the different ages, the 10 to 3. And so with Rocky, our youngest daughter, I'm like, I just soak her up and enjoy every cuddle. Every time I can pick her up, I just go, oh my gosh, I can pick her up because she's little. Like, that doesn't happen with Zai, or if I try, it's really hard.
You might not have been that way with him when he was little. You might not have cherished those moments as much.
Exactly, that's what I didn't. And because I have that varying ages, then it's like, it's almost like God gave me another chance and another chance to do it.
And reminded you through those.
Do it well. And then I think because I've become a better mom with Rocky, it helps me become a better mom with the boys as well. And Zai, I feel like the oldest, I am always trying to make up for maybe not enjoying it at the time.
Totally.
And now I'm like really enjoying him. Like, oh my gosh, he's so fun because he's 10, so he can relate. I can relate to him in a completely different way.
We can have adult conversations.
We can have adult conversations where we listen to a podcast together, and it's so funny because I always want to jump ahead, but I'm like, nope, we're listening to this together. So we try to get in the car by ourselves and let the other kids be in the other car so we could listen to the podcast. Like, that's how
he likes podcasts. My kids would never. I don't think they would listen to podcasts.
Well,
try.
You should. Yeah, there's one particular, the telepathy tapes, which I wanted to go into deeper later, but it is an amazing podcast, and he is so fascinated by it. And he's like, Mom, can we listen to the podcast? I'm like, oh, yeah, let's go.
Oh, my gosh.
So it's like this fun thing that me and him have. I almost now need to figure out how to have that with Indy and to have that with River, because I feel like I have it now with the oldest and the youngest, but it's the finding that alone time and the thing that you love with that one, that you can relate to with that one child.
Yeah. Sometimes what I do is, because I do have a very busy schedule with like traveling and being in school and very career driven, obviously. But sometimes what I try to do is I try to take each one on a date alone.
Yes.
So Ava gets to do it more, of course. We go on sushi dates all the time, but like,
oh my gosh, I love sushi too.
She just,
oh geez, of course, that's an expensive one.
Of course, and that's what she wants to do. Whereas Paxton doesn't care, and he's like so easy, and so I want to take him out more. But I think taking them out on special dates is really important, especially if you're really busy, like in your career or you're working a full-time job. That one-on-one time, I think, is so special.
Yeah, what's crazy? So we just recently signed up for the YMCA.
Yeah.
Game changer.
I did that when I was a kid.
Game changer. Oh my gosh. I'm like, what is this other world that mothers and parents are utilizing this? And I didn't even know. Like, they have free childcare. What? And
in LA, that's
in
rare.
LA, and and it could be for almost 2 hours. Like, you could go work out while they're playing and having so much fun.
Which is so good for you.
So great.
Yeah.
So we're now like we just moved to the valley, deeper into the valley. So now we're just like really exploring all the things
Suburban
that are out
life.
there. Suburban life. And I'm loving it. I'm like truly embracing this suburban life that I thought I would hate, but I love.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's this dad, and he had 2 little twins. They look like around like 5 years old. And so cute. I was like, oh, are they twins? And he said, yeah, they are. And I was like, oh, I'm a twin. And he's like, oh, that's cool. And just like walked away. I'm like, okay, bye. And then he came back up to me. He's like, hey, I just wanted to ask, is there any advice you would give me for being a dad of girl twins?
Oh,
I was like, that's really
sweet.
Sweet that
Yeah.
you care enough that you're asking a stranger. And I said, yes, actually, I do have one thing, because I have a twin sister, Missy, and she lives in Australia. She's been going on like a lot of, like doing a lot of therapy and like reflecting back on our childhood. And one thing that she shared to me was, oh, mom and dad would be like, oh, are you girls okay? And I would probably be the one that spoke up and said, yeah, we're doing good. And she never said, yes, I'm doing good, or no, I'm not doing good.
She couldn't express her feelings.
She couldn't express her feelings. And because I'd always speak for us, she at times wasn't doing good, and then they never thought she wasn't doing good.
So you spoke for her.
I would have unintentionally just been like, oh, yeah, we're fine. And so she kept saying, like, looking back, they always saw us as a unit and not as 2 individuals.
Oh, wow.
And so because I always was like, yeah, I'm fine, then they thought she was good too.
So that goes back to giving individualized attention.
Exactly. So I
your
said
kids.
to him, I was like, hey, if there's one thing, and don't see them as a unit, but see them separately, and have individual time doing the dates with 2, by themselves, because I don't think we spend a lot of time with our parents individually. It was always together.
Right.
So I love that you do that with your kids.
I mean, even I think with older and younger like siblings, I notice sometimes Paxton will speak for Ava because he's a better communicator, and she just like gets emotional and can't express her feelings, and he'll come in and he'll try to express her feelings for her.
Which is exactly what I did.
Yeah.
And the thing is that after now, years down the track, I realized I enabled her to be weak.
Yeah.
I never allowed her to find her voice, because I always wanted to protect her and love her, and I knew what she was thinking. So, well, I thought I did, right? So I was like, oh, I know what she's thinking. I know what she needs, so I'll speak for her. And I didn't know that would be such a detriment to her. And I've since apologized.
I wonder if in some ways you felt responsible for her.
I did.
Yeah.
Hugely.
Because I know growing up, I felt responsible. I was the oldest child. And, sometimes our family life was a little crazy, and I felt responsible for my siblings.
Yes.
So then we speak for them, and they are like, wait, I have my own emotions and feelings, and, yeah.
And yeah, now Ava, you don't want to stunt her growth because you're trying to protect her.
Yeah.
And that's what I think I did, unbeknownst to me, that I thought I was protecting her, but I was, taking that power away from her. Mm-hmm. And now she's found it, but it's like...
Took her years.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy how these patterns start when you're a child.
Yeah.
Like, they start at such a young age. And to learn emotional intelligence, it's hard.
It really is.
So, well, let's talk about career and identity. Mm-hmm. So you've been more home with the kids. Mm-hmm. But something I've struggled with a lot is feeling like if I have a career, it's my whole entire identity.
Yeah.
Something that I've learned through losing jobs and overcoming like failed businesses is that who I am isn't my career. And so I just always thought I have to be a nurse. I have this degree. I worked so hard for it. I went to school for 4 years. Now it'll be almost 9 years of school. Wow. And I always thought, okay, well, this was what I was told by society to do. Have this job, work it. And why would you not do this career? You paid all this money for this schooling. And so then I decided, you know what? I think I'm creative. I don't even think I want to be a nurse. Oh, wow. I don't think I want to do medicine. And I worked as a nurse, didn't like it at all, to be honest.
Wow.
Hated it.
What got you into doing it in the first place? Do you remember?
So my dad kind of was like the type that was like, you have to go to school, like college. And so I remember really distinctly wanting to go to an art school. But then I was also like, oh, that's not enough money. Cause I grew up in like very like West Virginia or like from Florida. Like, you know, majority of people believe they have to go to college to have a career, to make money. And it wasn't like I was like New York or LA where it's like, oh, you could be creative and make money too. Or you could, you know what I mean, have other ventures in your life. And so I struggled for so long thinking that I could only do this one career, and that was my identity. And finally, I think after I went through all my health issues, I started to realize like I'm capable of so much more. But what I would like to say is even after having kids, you lose your identity.
Yeah.
And even having the career you thought you always wanted and you're working at a 9-to-5 that you don't like, you can lose your identity. And so why as women, I think we struggle more with this than men, because I think we have more responsibilities. So me finding my identity through all these things has been hard because I've always thought like I had to identify with success. I had to identify with career. I had to identify with being just a mom. And I struggled to think like, what if I could be more than all those things? What if I could dabble in creative, you know, jobs or whatnot? How have you been through careers and like trying to find your place through having kids and knowing your identity?
Yeah. Well, I have always said that like every time I had a child, I had to refine myself.
Wow.
And that is really hard, except for the fact that you become good at redefining yourself. And when you think about change, I always thought, I love change. I think change is great. Like, I don't know. I think, oh, cool to get a new car. That's change. Or moving house is really fun. But I realized recently when you're forced to change, what's difficult is letting go of the past and letting go of the old and embracing the new. So even becoming a mom, I was like, yeah, I love change. I say I love change, but I'm still holding on to what I had before.
Yep.
And if I had let go sooner, then I would have been more like ready for what's coming. And the regret is that I was holding back on what I was thinking. If I hold on to it, like, I won't have such sense of loss.
Right.
But actually the sense of loss comes from you holding the thing behind you instead of embracing what's ahead of you.
Right.
So if I had embraced being a mom sooner, then I would have been running with more joy for what's coming. And I think, you know, God's always like, I have so much good ahead of you, but you keep looking behind you.
Yeah.
And I can't give it to you because you keep thinking what's behind you is better than what's ahead of you.
Right. Yeah.
So I didn't even know that I had that mindset. I would have, if someone said, oh, do you believe, are you hopeful what's coming? I would have said, yes, I'm incredibly hopeful what's coming. But the mindset deep down was, but I'm afraid to let go of what I had.
Do you think out of fear you were afraid to let go?
Yeah, like one of the things more specifically was losing friends. Mm-hmm. That every time I went through a change of having another child, that I would not be connected to my friends anymore.
Right.
As though that would just sever and die. And yet what I've come to realize after like the 10 years of being a parent and being a mom is that those seasons shift and change. So sometimes you may not spend as much time with them as with your friends because you're raising a baby. But then you come out of that like fog and you become the new person, and then you relate to each other in a whole different way. And I'm almost like talking to myself right now. It's like, okay, don't be afraid to let go of who you were.
Right. Because
you'll connect with your friends better because of what you're becoming, and that they're changing too. And so if you can grow together and lean into the change and lean into who you're becoming, then you'll connect more on a deeper, richer level with your friends.
And the reality is, as you're changing and evolving, you're going to take the good friends with you, and they're going to love every version of you.
Yeah.
If they're true friends.
Yeah, that's so true.
They're going to love the version of you that's evolving and they're going to support that. Now, what I find is there's not as many women that are like you are only going to have a few friends that are going to be like so amazing and watch you evolve and do it with you.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be some friends that, they were their first season, and
that's true.
That's okay too. Oddly enough, because I've moved and because I've changed careers and I've taken a lot of, I guess I'm probably a risk taker.
Yeah.
That I've had some friends that have been there through it all. And then there's some that I'm like, okay, well, that was just for a season and that's okay. But I had a hard time with that because I would think, oh, well, why don't they want to be friends with me anymore? Or why aren't we still friends? And I feel like God was like, hey, there's sometimes friends for seasons and then there's sometimes lifelong friends.
Yeah.
And so I think the lifelong friends will be there to support you while you evolve and while you change, right?
Yeah.
And that's an incredible thing.
Through this shift recently of moving and Joe changing jobs, and there's been so many shifts and so many changes.
Your whole life has changed.
My whole life feel like just the rug got pulled up beneath me, and I had to find a new ground. That there's certain friends that are really good in the shifting part of it. Or maybe sometimes even that God has brought new friends to help with the shift.
Right.
But to be okay with the ones that, like you said, are the lifelong friends, that they'll come back and we'll be in groove again. But right now, my life feels like it's like orbiting in a different space and I'm in a different universe trying to make sense of things.
Right.
And so part of me wants to grab hold of like control.
Of course. Every woman wants control.
Yeah.
In their marriage, in their career. Women love control.
Yeah.
Because we're meant to be like, I think we're the foundation of the household. Mm-hmm. Like it's up to us to make sure everything's functioning right. Yeah. So it's kind of innately, naturally what we do, control things.
Yeah.
Whether not that we should, it's just what I think, at least I struggle with it. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I would have thought, oh, I'm controlling because I'm like, oh, I'm so easygoing. But yes, you can stop people from changing and growing because you want to control, keep what was the same.
Right.
And I even had this thought this morning. I'm like, hey, because I'm going through such a shift and so many changes, then I'm naturally always thinking about me. And I think, or our kids or our family. Like, I feel like we're very, like, before we were so outwardly, like, how do we serve? How do we lay our lives down for others, which is such a beautiful part of our life.
You guys have done amazing with that.
Thank you. And
always serving people.
And we love it. And then there came this shift, specifically of moving deeper into the valley, which feels like another world. And shifting, career shift with Joe, a whole community, like everything, Mosaic shifted buildings and different spaces. And so even specifically for our kids, nothing was the same. It was like we moved and everything changed. Their school changed, where they went to church, they went to Mosaic, but different building, different space, different people. That shifted sports.
Every single thing in your life changed. Every single thing.
Every single thing.
And so change is hard like that.
Yeah.
It's one thing to change just your career, just move, but you had every single thing change.
Yeah. And a therapist told Joe, and he was just sharing with me before this, and she said to him, hey, you've gone through like a lot of loss in the last 2 years. And I just want to tell you, you're doing a good job.
Wow.
And I think sometimes you don't even realize you're going through loss until someone like acknowledges it.
Right.
Or and you acknowledge it and say, okay, this is actually really tough. It's like in the same way of becoming a mom, you have to you lose what you were, and you lose freedom, you lose things.
Right.
And you lose part of yourself. But then the beautiful part is that God's like, yes, you're mourning the loss of something, and you have to go through that transition because what's coming is the new you.
Right.
And I've just...
Isn't that the same, though, when you lose all the things that you thought were like your career and your house, and there's a new you evolving, even though it feels like maybe you've hit rock bottom. It feels like you're in the wilderness.
Yeah.
And it feels like you can't see a way out. But there's a new you evolving in that. And I think there's so much beauty in hitting rock bottom, because I think you figure out who you truly are. I feel like too, you hear God's voice more so in that season of hitting rock bottom than you could ever hear his voice.
That's true.
Out of the deepest depths of the heartache evolves the most beautiful, incredible things in your life, like career, dreams, better marriage.
Yeah.
You can't see it though when you're in it.
Yeah, that's so true.
You can't.
Yeah. And I think, we felt like we were like in suffering and grief. It was like, oh my gosh, this grief is so hard. It was like, like going through a divorce or like losing someone like in a death. It felt like something was dying and we had to grieve it and let go of it. But it was so physically painful. It was like this heaviness on me. But as through it, I felt like God really prepared us for it. Like, first off, we had Pastor Erwin from Mosaic, connected us to a coach who was amazing. And it was like... What kind of
coach? Is that like a...
He's a performance coach.
Okay.
And I've never worked with a performance coach before, but I'm like...
Me neither. I would love to.
This is amazing. Like, what is this world?
Yeah.
And the first conversation I had with him, he was really working with Joe, but he was connecting with me as well to get like backstory of what's happening. And we were moving at the same time. Like, it was really the day that we had moved. I was on the phone with him and we were talking about like health issues that Joe had been facing, and mental, emotional, and physical. And he said to me, Beck, this is life or death.
Wow.
This is truly life or death. And if Joe doesn't change his health, he's not going to make it. And because he has type 2 diabetes. And this is going to be like this is a hard road, and it's a slippery slope if nothing changes.
Yeah.
And it was like this, like the heavens opened up, like,
you needed to hear it.
I need you to wake up.
Yeah.
Beck, you're like asleep at the wheel and you're about to go off a cliff.
You're going through the motions.
Yeah. So wake up and do something about it.
Yeah. Make life changes.
So as our life was changing, it was like God was like, but I need you to make a change.
Wow. All at once.
And you need to start today. And it was, that conversation was before even Joe's job changed. Like, it was preparing me. Like, I felt like God knew, hey, there's a tidal wave that's about to hit your family. And if you don't get strong internally, you're not going to make it.
Yep. You got to be, you prepared.
So it was almost like God was using him to say, like, it was life or death for Joe, but it was also life and death for me.
Yeah. Like, you knew that the changes need to happen in both of you, not just him.
Exactly.
Even though when you're married, you're like, you're the one that needs to change.
Yeah.
And I remember when Michael and I were going through mental health issues, because there was a point where I was so rock bottom and depressed. And I remember looking him in the car and said, I don't care if I live or die. Like, when I was my sickest.
Yeah.
And I remember he was mentally stable for me.
Yes.
But then there was a time when we moved to LA that he was not mentally stable, and I had to be mentally stable for him. But the reality is, you can't be both mentally broken in a marriage at the same time.
No.
Because there's the wonderful thing about a marriage is that you can carry each other.
Yes.
When the other person is not able, you can carry each other.
Yes.
But when you're both struggling, I'm like tearing up too, and you're both mentally struggling and you're both going through something, one of you has to be strong enough to carry the other.
Yeah.
And so maybe in this moment it was like, all right, like, you didn't even know what was going to happen, but one of you needed to be ready.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
And so, you had to be the strong one.
Yeah.
And so I think, sometimes I think women too are just like intuitive in hearing God's voice, and like God was preparing you for like what was about to happen. But at the same time, we want all these things for our life and we want to be successful and we want to do amazing things. But I feel like God's like, I'm just waiting on you to make this shift.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting on you to make this change. And sometimes he's waiting so long that we have to go through heartache. Like, I think heartache comes no matter what. Pain comes no matter what.
Yeah.
But in those moments of pain is when we're so willing to make those shifts.
Yeah.
Because we have to.
Because we're desperate.
Because we have to.
Yeah, like
there's no option.
Yeah, like you said, when you're going through grief or pain, you hear God more clearly, or and I think it's true, but because you are desperate for him to speak more clearly.
Right.
Like, so after that phone call I had with Dr. Wayne, I was like, okay, it's this. There's a battle that we're in right now, and I was just focused on trying to find a house and get us moved into that house. That's all I was focused on. And then it was like coming out of that stressful situation of moving.
So stressful. Moving with kids is another.
Yeah, it was another.
People don't understand how to move unless they move with kids. Because if you move with kids.
I guess saying we should get them to be looked after by someone else, and it never happened. I was like, okay, I guess we're just doing it with them. It was this is insane. Shoot. So I was coming out of that whirlwind. And then I realized I'm in a bigger battle than just this. Like, my eyes lifted and I realized, we're at war.
Right.
And we got to get ready as a family.
Yep.
And I got to be ready. And I felt like God was really trying to whisper this into my soul, like back in April. But I wasn't listening. I wasn't paying enough attention. I should have been like pouring into the scriptures immediately, going, what is it? What is it? Because it was like my soul knew something was wrong. And so after that, I was like, okay, here goes. And I was pouring into the scriptures every day. Like
you felt off. You felt like something was off.
I knew, okay, there's a war about to happen and I need to be like mentally, emotionally strong for this.
Right.
But of course, I didn't really know exactly what was going to happen. I just knew that was from God when he said this is life or death. And I just plowed in. I'm like reading the scriptures, praying, doing everything I could to support the kids, which Joe and I both were doing. It wasn't until, he called me up and said, my job is changing and I'm not working at Mosaic anymore. But all through that morning, I just felt like I had to pray. I was like, I'm not going to stop praying until I can't pray anymore. Like, just keep praying. And again, it's like, that's the cool thing is when you're preparing for a war or battle that you don't even know is coming, then you really know it to turn it up.
Right.
To another level.
Right.
And
to prepare yourself.
And so as I'm praying, then, when I talked to Joe, I was so calm. I was like, okay, we got this. Like, I don't know what this road is.
That was what you needed to be in that moment.
Because he was hitting the biggest shift and change of his life.
Right.
And of course it's going to be so much harder on him. And that's what you were saying before, is that there's going to be times. I feel like most of the time I felt like he was the strong one and he was the leader of our family. And so he knew where North Star was. And I was the one that was like the supporting character.
The supporting role.
Yeah. And now it's like, no, you have to be the strong one. You have to help lead and you have to help.
It's your turn.
It's your turn now. Buckle up and start hitting.
Well, and isn't that funny that you knew to prepare yourself mentally, you knew to prepare yourself spiritually, that you were praying. You didn't know what was going to happen, but you were so in tune to know that I have to be prepared and get ready. And I think life just happens. We don't always understand it. We don't always know why, but we do know that the creator has a bigger plan overall. And it's crazy because we can't see it. We don't know where the road goes. And just for us to pick up and be like, all right, I don't know where this road goes, but I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah.
When it feels like you have nothing left, that's hard to do.
Yeah.
And so the difference between most people is that you could have just let yourself break and be depressed and cry and wallow in it. But instead I saw you, at least from what I saw when we met, was that you were like, no, I'm going to do something great with this. So to go through a career shift that's unexpected, when you're paying for your kids to eat or whatever, and you're not sure what the future looks like. Yeah. I mean, that's really hard. And people do, they lose jobs, they lose loved ones to, illnesses. And so I think like you either wallow in it and be depressed and moan and complain or become a victim, or you do something with it. And what I saw in you was this fire and this passion to be like, no, this isn't my future. Yeah. We're not going to stay down. Like, we're going to overcome any obstacle, which has been amazing to see. And you're like, no, I'm going to start writing in the morning. I'm going to start working out in the morning. I'm going to do my routine. I'm going to become the best mom, the best version of me. I'm going to still push for my career, whatever that looked like. I saw you all of a sudden just shift now into a different person. Yeah. From what that conversation was that we had, I was like, wow, she's ready to go. Oh, wow. So tell me like what that journey's been like now that you're like, okay, I'm on the other side of this hard thing. What does that look like moving forward? And what are the things that you've been practicing daily that's just helped you mostly with strength? Yeah. Because let's talk about strength and endurance. Like those are things that we need to have to just master life. Everyone has something they're overcoming. Yeah.
I think like going back a little bit, when I saw it hit Joe so hard, I was like, this cannot be our future, and we gotta win. Like it was almost like, okay, the battle is coming towards us, but it might hit us hard, but this is not how we go down.
Of course.
Yeah. And it's crazy when someone else needs you, then something comes out of you that was dormant.
Right.
And I felt like God really was having conversations with me saying, this was always inside of you, but it wasn't needed, or you didn't know how to access it anymore, and you had like dulled it down.
Yeah. Suppressed
it. And now it's your time to awaken.
Wow.
Now you have, it just shows like even when you're in a beautiful marriage, like I love my marriage with Joe, and I was so proud of it. But then at the same time, I didn't know that I was so dependent on him all the time. And I would just let him lead all the time. And that could be good at times.
Right.
But I know I'm a strong person too. So if I don't use my voice, I don't practice using my voice, then you start to lose it.
Right.
And I didn't know that I had lost my voice.
Yeah.
And wasn't using it when it was necessary. Like I could have used it sooner.
Sure.
If I'd seen the signs, I could have like spoken up more, but I almost felt like I almost wanted to say it, and then it's like I couldn't say the words.
Yeah.
And obviously God knew that that's what was happening inside my soul. So when this seismic shift happened in our family, then it reawakened it to be like, you have to speak up and you have to say it. And when you see someone you love break, it's like, okay, it's like it forces you to use your voice, you know?
Well, I think too, when you're married for so long and you start to mimic the same patterns as each other.
Yeah.
And I think like sometimes with Michael, I'm like, I'm afraid to tell him how I really feel because I don't want to hurt him. Mm-hmm. When in reality, if I told him how I really felt about something, because God maybe laid it on my heart, it might actually change him.
Yes.
So the reality is, why are we so afraid to speak up in the marriage? I think a lot of us want to avoid conflict.
Yes.
I think everyone wants to avoid conflict. Yeah. And I know in my marriage, I'm like, I don't want to fight. Like that's a lot. I hate going to someone and telling them, I see this in you, and I feel like this is something we need to work on.
Yeah.
Like, it's the worst conversation. The reality is, though, that everyone needs someone to hold them accountable and to speak into their lives.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's like, if I go and tell him, he's going to get mad at me, or he's going to get upset, or I'm going to hurt his feelings, when in reality, you're the person that they need.
Exactly.
You're the person, the only person that's probably going to have that voice in their life.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to be the ones to step in and be like, hey, I see you. I'm here for you. I'm praying for you. I want to support you in this, but we've got to work through it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times I'm just like, no, I don't even want to talk about it. It's easier just ignore it and just keep going. And
Exactly.
we're too busy.
And too busy.
Yeah, we're too busy.
Everything
the kids need me. It's all about the kids. When your spouse is suffering, and then in turn, if your spouse is suffering, your marriage suffers. And then when your marriage suffers, your kids suffer. And it's just kind of like, it's going to snowball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, backtrack a little bit. We went out to have lunch with you and Michael and the kids, and it was so fun. I was like, wow, why haven't we done this ever? Like, what in the world? I guess because we were always
most of the time
busy.
I was traveling or so sorry.
So we had lunch, and it was so amazing. And you shared about writing in your journal.
Yeah.
And this was before anything really hit us. So it's again, another preparation or another hint from God to say hey, listen carefully to this. So when you said that, I was like, oh, I don't really like journaling, or I've always told myself I don't like journaling. Mm-hmm. Probably because I didn't want to do the work. And that's the most honest answer.
That's pretty much everybody, though. Yeah.
And but I said, oh, I'm just not that person to journal. I I talk to myself in my head, I guess, or talk to friends. But you mentioned that and how your life had significantly changed. And I felt like I was a bit of in a rut with what to do next with my life, with my career. And I had started a business, but I knew, okay, I need to take it up a notch, but it's scary and I didn't know how to do that. And you shared, this is what I did. I journaled every single day. And then when we met for coffee, you told me about The Artist's Way, the book.
Right.
Which I had friends that had spoken about it, but again, I just never delved into it. Mm-hmm. So I went home and I listened to the audiobook of The Artist's Way, and I started doing morning pages. And I love it.
Yeah.
Anytime a hard thing happens and I start to write, it's I'm actually processing the hard thing.
It's almost therapeutic to write it out and get it off your chest.
And it's really hard because you don't, again, the same thing what you said, you just want to avoid. A lot of the times I'm like, oh, that's uncomfortable. I just want to avoid. Like a conflict with a friend,
Yeah.
And I'm just I just want to avoid that. Oh, that sucks, but just move on. But journaling forces you to really write out, okay, what did you do in the conflict? Why did this come up? Why did you make those choices? And so as I'm writing, I'm realizing, oh my gosh, this is far deeper than just this conflict. This is years of me as a child, or, in all the conflicts we had in our family dynamic. This is rearing its ugly head here. And who do I want to become? Do I want to become this? Because obviously this friend is bringing something to me. And even if I hate it and I almost want to disagree with it, there's truth to it.
Yep.
I remember Pastor Owen saying any feedback he got, criticism, depending, it didn't matter who it's from, he would use it to learn something from it.
Oh, wow. That's good.
And I realized that's actually way harder than to actually do it. And in this moment, it was someone who I loved and respected, and what they were sharing with me was really hard, and I didn't want to deal with it. But as I started to write in the journal, so sometimes I write the journal and it says you have to do 3 pages. And
it's a lot of writing.
Yeah. And after the second page, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have 1 more page to go. I don't want to do, it's really hard to do the third.
It's a big discipline.
Except when you really need to process something. I was could write 4 or 5 pages. I'm like, oh my gosh, so much was coming out of me from the situation that I was like, okay, I'm going to have to face this ugly thing that I hate.
Right.
Because first of all, I don't want to be this person that this friend is bringing to me. And I don't want my kids
To be that.
to be this.
Right. And they watch everything you do.
And I will pass this on if I do not
change.
And if I do not look at it with everything I have and start really dissecting it and pulling it apart, I will naturally, if I avoid this, I will give this to my children.
Wow.
Whether I want to or not. Because I would say, oh, I don't want to pass this habit on or the lack of boundaries to my kids. But if I don't find a way to cure myself, then I will naturally pass it on to them.
Wow. So you're breaking things in your life and life patterns for them. And journaling exposed that.
And journaling really helped push me through it. It's like, I know my habit is sometimes I want to process with friends because they'll help me feel better about it.
Well, they'll say what you want to hear.
Yeah, and I hope that they're like, oh, you're fine. You didn't mean to do that. And it's not a big deal. And yes, in some ways, it's not a big deal. But the underlying thing underneath it, what is it that I am avoiding?
Right.
And journaling helps you. It's like praying. It's like I journal, but then I start to pray about it too, to be like, God, will you help me see clearly in this situation? Give me wisdom. What am I not seeing? And then it's like he's responding to me as I'm writing that, oh, you're not seeing this, or you need to face this back. And it's so hard to hear because it's self-reflection and it's things that you don't want to talk about.
But it's also bettering you.
It is.
I think like it depends on your perspective, right? Like you can look at it and be like, oh my gosh, I didn't know I was like this and I wish I wasn't. But also you could look at it like, oh, thank God I'm figuring this out. Thank God that I can change it based on me doing this work. Because you're putting in the work. You're putting in the work so that you can become the best version of you. Yeah. And so if you weren't putting in that work, you wouldn't be evolving. Mm-hmm. And so something like I would spend hours just like journaling because I was such sadly a negative person. Like I think it was because I was hit by so many hard things that it became negative. And I was just like, I don't trust anybody. I don't know how life can get better. Like I went through depression. But once I started journaling and getting it out, I was like, why am I like this? I don't want to be like this. Like it's amazing how you uncover the depths of what you're going through mentally when you get it on paper.
It's like, you're seeing your self-talk.
Yes.
In your journal.
Your self-talk. That's exactly it. And when you have to write it on paper, it's in front of you.
Yeah.
And you're seeing it firsthand. You're like, you don't even know you're doing it until you're writing it on paper or talking about it with somebody.
Well, yeah. And the coach actually mentioned this too. He was like, there is a power in pen to paper.
Oh, wow.
Because sometimes I was writing, like my friend, recommended to me like, hey, with all this shift and change and it's like a lot of hard things that are happening to you, you should record this, like put it down in your notes so you don't forget this season of your life. But I was just putting it in my phone at the time. So it wasn't until you said about the journaling so then I was like, okay, I need a journal. How am I going to journal? Because at the time the kids were at home and it was summer.
Right.
And then I thought, well, I'll never do it unless they do it with me. So I'm going to go. So I went to Target and bought everyone a journal.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
And said, guys, we're going to journal together. And so at night when Rocky and River would go down to sleep, Indy and Zai and I would sit out on our outdoor couch and we would just journal. And what was so cool is that, so I was processing a lot of things, but then for them, we were talking a lot about homes and houses, and since we had just moved. And I said, you should like think about your dream home. Like, where would you want us to live next? Like, what would that look like? And of course, they would love a pool and all those kind of things.
Right.
But then what was beautiful is they started writing, more deep things came up, and Zai even wrote a poem, which I'm like, this poem is beautiful. We need to send it in. He got creative.
That's crazy.
So look at all the good things that came out of it just by you saying to me, hey, this is a powerful tool that I use, is journaling. And I have, I'm almost finished my journal. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm almost finished this book. I have to buy a new one for the next thing. And For me, I haven't read anything. I like saw a couple of words as I skimmed through, and I was like, I'm going to read it soon or later. But for now, I'm just like, just keep writing and just,
Right.
I don't know if do you ever look back on
My journals?
Yeah.
So, what's funny is I have some that are super dark, and then I have some that are like amazing because they're things that have come to pass.
Yes.
So I would write about things that I wanted to happen in the future, whether they be goals or prayers or whatever. And recently I looked back and I was like, oh my gosh, this happened, that happened. Everything that I was writing has happened.
Yeah.
And so that's when I knew, okay, not only is this helping me therapeutically get things off my chest that are hard, it was also giving me vision. It was casting vision in my life, whereas like I was being intentional and purposeful in casting vision and I didn't even know.
Wow.
So for me, that's why I was like, okay, this is crazy. I was just telling Michael and his mom and like a few other people, I'm like, no, you guys, like this is, I know it sounds so silly, but I'm like, I'm casting vision.
No, it's so powerful
in my life, and it's changing my life. Like,
because you're speaking into your life.
Right.
I mean, even the scriptures talk about that.
Well, and visualizing, right?
Yeah, and visualizing.
I mean, I think you're, without vision,
the people will perish. Yeah.
So it's like, I'm setting vision, I'm setting intention, I'm saying to God and myself, I want this life, this better life for our family.
Yeah.
I want to make an impact in people's lives because I've been through so much and I know that I have value. And because journaling has basically showed me that. And having those dark times of hitting rock bottom and just writing out all my emotions and it just helped me see a way out and also have vision for my life.
Yeah.
So
one thing that in having this coach, which was super helpful, is that he like did a test to see like what the insights of Joe and the insights of me. And it comes up with all these different numbers, which is very hard to understand unless you're him. And he's like, you can change your numbers, but it like tracks you and compares you to top leaders. And he's like, as a normal person in society, this is really healthy. But as compared to a really top leader, like a CEO or NBA player or someone like top of their field, you're low in this number, and this number needs to go up. So that's how he tracks it. But one thing that he could see in both of us, which we both knew this is our weakest parts of who we are, is the lack of structure. And partly it served us because we were always flexible to shift and turn to whatever was asked or whatever was needed, we could do and drop everything and move, because we didn't have such a strong structure, so it didn't impede on any boundary because there was no boundary to impede on.
Right.
And the biggest realization was like, oh, you need clear boundaries because they protect not only you, but they protect your children, they protect your family. So that's one big thing. And he was like, you need, the enemy's going to hit you in structure.
Wow.
And he's going to distract you so that you don't get the work done and you don't get your goals. And so once, you hear that, you read that in the scriptures and you're like, okay, yeah. But when someone tells you this is the part that he's going to get you on, you're like, oh, dang, well, I can't give him a foothold.
That's the part
in
I have to
our
protect.
family.
Yeah.
And it's something that we haven't put all our focus in until now. So now is the season of like creating boundaries, creating structures, and waking up early, going to the gym, even when I do not want to go. Like, I remember seeing this like Instagram of different Olympians and what they say to themselves or what makes them different. And one of the things was, even if I don't feel motivated or inspired to do something, I do it anyway.
Anyway.
I get up and I put on my workout gear, because you don't feel like running when you're in bed.
No.
But when you start to run, you go, I can do this. And you feel like motivated.
Yeah.
And you feel, even when you don't feel motivated, you just feel better about yourself because you're outside. And it's like suddenly the world just becomes better. And it's the same thing with going to the gym. So I'm like working out 6 a.m. in the mornings, like 3 to 4 times a week.
That's amazing. Do you feel different?
I do. And some of those things, I had those habits already in place, but now I see the importance of having those structures and keeping to it. Like one of the biggest things I've learned about confidence is when you say to yourself, you're going to do something, even if it's just to yourself, to keeping that commitment.
Yep.
So every time you break that commitment, when you've said to yourself, I'm going to wake up early at 6 a.m. to go to workout, and you don't, you lose confidence in who you are.
Oh, wow. That's good. That's really good.
So I'm like, okay, this is, if I say it in my head, because before I said to myself, even if I said it to myself, I didn't say it to anyone else. Yeah. If I said it to someone else, then I'm much more motivated to, I will keep that promise. Mm-hmm. But now I realize actually it's just as important as what you say to yourself to keeping that promise.
Right.
Because you can say to yourself, I have integrity of when I say I'm going to do something. Even if I don't tell anyone else, I'm going to keep the integrity.
Yeah. You're also instilling discipline in your life.
Yes, and that's the biggest thing is that we needed more discipline in our lives.
Right.
And working out the morning pages, reading the scriptures every day, and not thinking it's okay to not do it.
Right. It's your responsibility.
Yeah.
Something that I feel like God's been telling me lately over and over again is how I do anything is how I do everything.
Yes.
So it's so silly, but sometimes I'm like, you know, I don't know, maybe like I'm just like a little lazy about cleaning or a little lazy about how my car looks or like it's just silly things.
No,
like
that's
my car,
really real things.
So like if my car looks dirty, Michael will laugh at this because I'm so anal about like our car being clean, our porch being clean. Like I'm a super clean freak. And here's the thing that I've learned in my life. If I can maintain my home, my car, like these little things, then I can maintain a lot in work and in my own self-discipline.
Yeah.
So I believe your environment impacts you. I believe that these small disciplines like exercise are going to be how you show up for work.
Yeah.
So like a lot of times now when I'm like meeting someone or deciding like, oh, if I want you to work for me or whatnot, I like to know the patterns of your life and how your lifestyle is. And also, do you exercise? How's your health? Because you can't be the best version of you if you can't even
look after you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like if you can't take care of your own health and your own, like God gave us these things to take care of and nurture, like kids, our bodies.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm so big on health. And I mean, I didn't really have a choice because I suffered with my health for so long that I was like, okay, if I can get my health right and I can be disciplined in this area of eating right and doing the things that I know God wants me to do with my health, then I could be disciplined in all these other areas. I can be in business, in relationships, in my marriage, in like being a better mom. But I challenge myself every day. I think I'm always like, okay, how I do this is how I do everything. How
I love that.
You know what I mean? Like that's something that's been on my heart a lot. And I'm like, how can I level? So like, you know, Ed Milet's always talking about the power of one more.
Yes.
Did you read that book yet?
Yeah, I know I haven't, but
Okay.
I use it and work out. I'm like, hey, do one more.
Yes. The book is all about just adding one more to level up. So sometimes in my head, I'll have him talking in the background like, okay, you did the dishes, but you could have wiped out the sink and like there's food in it. Like it's a silly scenario, but I'm like,
that's a great example.
So I'm trying to like, okay, how can I level up in every area of my life? Because then I think God will promote me and elevate me in other areas of my life.
That's good.
Because it's kind of like proving to him like, I'm ready. I'm ready for this.
Yeah.
It's not easy. I would rather do the easy thing. But, you know, you choose your hard. You choose your hard being poor and sick, or you choose your hard being successful and, you know what, healthy. Yeah? I mean,
good.
That's just how it is.
Choose your hard. Oh my gosh. That's really good.
So what is your hard going to be? And for me, I'm like, I know what it's like to be rock bottom. I know what it's like to be so sick and poor, broke. I know what it's like to not have enough money for rent. I know what it's like to live in my car because I've done that.
Wow.
In college, I lived in my car.
But how long did you live in your car?
Oh, it was probably like a week, but I had nowhere to live.
Yeah, so that's scary though. Yeah,
So I guess when you know what it's like on that end, you're like, okay, well, is it that hard to manage my finances? Is it that hard to work out every day? These are privileged things we get to do.
That's a good point.
So it's like your perspective shifts and you're like, I would rather choose that hard than the other one.
That's really good. It's like, having a perspective of gratefulness. Like, luckily, I should say that to myself more. Like, I'm grateful that I have finances to figure out.
Right.
And I was telling jokes where going a deep dive into finances.
Good for you. That's something I feel really strongly about doing.
Yeah.
And maybe we should
do it
have
together.
a women's group on it.
No, really. I am like very passionate about this because I feel like there is somewhat information out there, but also it's very confusing. And I keep like trying to ask people, like, can someone tell me, what do you do? Like, do you get a whole life policy or do you not? Like,
is there guidance on taxes? Is there guidance on life insurance?
It's really, really hard, and it's scary because you don't know what you're doing. And if you're being in finance or you're that way inclined, I think it's like just your stepping stones where you piece the information together. I guess that's how people have figured it out. But I'm like, how have you figured it out? And how do you save for retirement? And
especially when you're creative, like we are, like, or like you're
where
freelancers.
The income's in and out.
Yeah.
So I am really passionate about this. So I would love to dig deeper into this. But I said to Joe, like Monday or something, I was like, this is really hard and long. Like once you go into it, you're like, there's so many choices and decisions you have to make on every little bit. And I know that right now I'm just like trying to set up structures in our lives, in all areas of our life.
That's amazing.
But finance is the biggest thing right now.
Right.
So it's like I have to learn these structures so that we can set up automatic things in our life that we don't have to be thinking about. It's like the way that we tithe. We tithe and it's automatic. We don't think about it, we just do it. What are the other things in our lives they say, like with savings? You never want to save. Mm-mm. So you have to go against yourself and do it automatically so that you don't even see the money. It just goes to the account that you don't see and it starts to save and you create compound interest. But of course, you always think, I don't have enough money for it.
That's what you always think.
Yeah.
So here's the reality. I think the fact that you're putting effort into making a structure is what you'll get honored for. Like you're going to be like, all right, like I was telling Michael this the other day, I'm like, it doesn't matter if we have the money or we don't. I just like whether we can do the things financially we want to do. It's the act of I'm going to set this structure in place so that God sees that I'm being obedient to what I have been given.
Yes.
And so for me, it's like, okay, I may not have all the money I want to put everywhere I want.
Yeah, it may be a little, right? Like you're putting a little towards retirement instead of the lot that you want.
But it's just proving that you're willing to have that discipline in your life to say, I'm going to do this. This is important.
Yes.
And I think when you show up, it's like, I'm showing up because this is important. And then all of a sudden, God's like, all right, so you're ready. You're ready for the money that's coming.
Yes.
So something he's been telling me is like, you want to make more money. Are you ready for it?
Exactly.
And I'm like, well, if I can't just go and blow it, that would be dumb. I need to be ready.
It's like people that win the lottery, and this huge lottery that's on right now, like what billion? I don't know if they've
billions or millions.
Yeah, billions, I think.
Oh, is it?
But you know how many people win the lottery, millions of dollars, and then just blow it, and then they become, suicidal or depressed after winning and losing all the money.
Right.
So it's like, okay, money can come in and come right back out.
Yep.
We know we can spend money very easily without even thinking about it. So I agree with you. I feel like God's like, hey, you need to create the structures so that when money does come in, it's being put to use, and you want your money to work for you.
Yep. Preach.
And it doesn't work when you're not putting it into the buckets that you need to put into so that can create compound interest. Like, for instance, putting money into a high yielding savings account, which I just went.
Oh, good
so
for
I'm
you.
like, okay, get an online bank account that you don't see, and you just transfer the money. So at least you have the highest interest rate on that savings. So the process is like that. I'm like, okay. And it's scary because I don't know what I'm doing and I feel vulnerable doing it.
Sure.
But I realize if we don't tackle this beast now, we will never get ahead, and it will always devour us.
It'll always be a problem in your life. It'll always be a roadblock.
And I hate that feeling. I'm like, I don't want money to go to credit card interest and not even to the credit card. Like, that kills me. It's like it drives me crazy, and it has driven me crazy in the past. It's just I've kept avoiding it.
I've avoided it too.
So now I feel like God's like, you have no excuse to not live better.
Wow.
Because he's literally taken everything away.
Be like, well, if you got nothing to work with, we'll start at the basics.
Like, but in a beautiful way, it's like, okay, well, more will come, but right now everything's gone. So what are you doing with what you have?
That's amazing. Well, Beck, thank you so much for coming on the show. This conversation has been super inspiring, and I've loved having you on. And I thank you so much for being vulnerable and real. And I can't wait to have you back on. We're going to do a part 2.
I would love that.
Yeah. You guys go follow the Unguarded podcast with Joe and Beck Smith. Thank you guys for watching.